Hello, Art 3 students. So as you can see, I have my example of my 3 media, 3 style, 1 subject ready to go. I have drawn my thumbnail sketches, which was the last video that I showed you, because remember you are required to draw at least 3 different thumbnail sketches. You will be using reference images, or you can bring things in and actually draw from life observation. But you will want to make sure that you are looking at something so that your thumbnails and so that your initial drawing can be realistic and accurate before you intentionally break that subject into 3 completely different styles. So as you can see, I have my thumbnail sketch of the pear, and remember I had divided it into thirds. Was going to do a collage on part, pop art on part, and realistic with the colored pencil, potentially. And then remember I had my turtle example with a different type of division. These were vertical but slightly diagonal lines. And I was thinking of doing 1 style, 1 medium, 2 second style, second medium, 3rd style, 3rd medium, just in general. So now I have, just a reminder, I have my elephants over here, which have been drawn with the gridding system. So especially if you are using a reference image that is on a computer, you can absolutely use the gridding technique in order to be able to draw your subjects accurately. Now on this example, I've left parts of the grid, you remember, to use as some of my design, but I have not yet changed parts of the actual elephant, him or herself, to match the different styles. On my finished example, which is where you guys are headed, you can see that I've started it the same way. I gridded it out, I drew a frog, I divided the frog, and then I started to change sort of the way that the frog was shaped in the abstract and the non-objective portions, but just added realistic detailed shading to the center portion in the middle. Now I will say I did this section last because I did not want to smear my graphite when I was doing either of the painting steps. So you do want to consider the order in which you use the different media that you choose. So once again, I've got my pear here. It is drawn. I have used a reference image that was on the computer. I did not grid, I just used observation, but I could have gridded if I had wanted to. And I did add another leaf on this side, just so that I would have a little bit more of an interesting subject to be starting with. Now this bottom section I made a little bit larger than the others, simply because it does have less in it. So what I will do is plan to make this section something that has a lot of additional details, such as a Zentangle, or if I wanted to do something that was a little bit more pop art, or something with watercolor and use lots of splatter, that type of thing. This section, I definitely plan on using colored pencil and doing it realistically. So I know that that one is set, that's pretty much squared away. That's definitely my plan for that particular section. And remember, at this point, you can always practice any technique that you need to. So what I'm thinking is colored pencil and realism. And then on this one, I think I'm going to actually do collage and make it look like it's just sitting on a table, so that this would be a table where it's darkest here and gets lighter as it moves away. And then this would be the color of the actual pear to kind of tie in to the realistic portion that I am doing in colored pencil. And then this section, I would probably use a black and white Zentangle, possibly, simply because then that way I have a colorful section, and then sort of a not colorful section. It is, of course, up to you. You could do realistic and use regular graphite and have it be black and white like my frog. But for this one, because there are so many colors on and in a pear, I'm choosing to do the realistic section in colored pencil. And then this will have full color. So this one I am still leaning towards doing either as pop art and doing a black and white type pop art, or Zentangle and doing it primarily black and white. So now the next thing that I would be doing would be to practice any techniques that I want to do, make sure that I understand the concept, and then I would go ahead and start in on one of my sections, remembering that I want to be intentional about which medium I use first. So for instance, because I'm not shading with graphite, it will not necessarily matter so much that I do that one last. But if this one is a collage, I might want to do it last so that anything that overlaps here, I can cover up with the nice clean area of the collage, which then means that this section or this section would be the first ones that I would do. And since I'm not entirely sure whether I want to do pop art in black and white or Zentangle, I might want to start with this section, or I could do a little bit more research and look up some examples of black and white pop art to find something that I like, and I could start with that particular section. So then the next video for this particular project is just going to be examples of me starting on one of these two sections, because remember the collage section will be last because it literally goes on top of the surface.